Hello, everybody. I'm Katrina. This is Sow and Tare. We do a live chat every Monday night, 6 p.m. Pacific time. And you're here, I'm here. You're in the right place. We talk all things homesteading related and have a topic of discussion. And sometimes we go off on all sorts of tangents. We talk first and then do our topic later. And we had on Sunday, for the membership. If you don't know about the membership, you can join us. We do a Cook With Me Live once a month. And let me get the thing here. Oh, where'd it go? There it is. So here is a link for that in case you need it or want it. And you can also watch all the old videos from that. Now, this is literally me in my kitchen, you in yours, and we have a lot of fun doing it. We made chicken Alfredo. We made the noodles. We made the sauce. And I grew a rabbit, so I used rabbit instead of chicken. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. So anyway, I'm gonna scroll up to the top here, see how everybody's doing. I hope everybody's doing good. You guys were here way before me. Way before me. Steve was here at 2:25. Oh my goodness. Welcome, Steve. First time you've ever been early, right? Don't tell me I was first. Are you all sleeping? Oh, wow. Yeah. Actually getting stuff done and you're lounging around? That could be it. That could be it. Yes, I am. I will be doing that at some point. I had the Cook With Me Live this weekend and some other stuff during the week. I did end up having some neighbors over last night to eat. Not the rest, but some of it are rabbit Alfredo, and they said it was really, really good. So that's good. All right. Yeah, PJ says you're lounging around, Steve. PJ's here. Welcome, welcome. PJ's one of Katrina's kits, and she did the Alfredo as well. Well, you had chicken and steak as your meats, right? As your protein. Yeah. Welcome. All right. People saying hi. Oh, so Steve, did you cook anything in your car? He says, I'm doing well, except for the oven temperatures they call outside. Yeah, I think you should start cooking something in your car. At least do cookies. You have grandkids. You have lots of grandkids. They need car cookies. Oh. Oh, wow. PJ says, walked out of our office and temp said 112 in the parking lot. Yeah, that's hot. And you have humidity over there too, right? We're finally cooling down. I'm going to knock on some wood here. Yeah, cooling down here. You'll be caught popcorn. All the corn will become popcorn, Steve says, at this rate. Oh my goodness. I wonder if that's ever happened. Maybe like a forest fire or a crop fire. I guess crops aren't really in the forest. Oh man. All right, Verna's here. Hey. Welcome, welcome. All right, Steve and Verna are moderators. They are in blue with a little wrench. Steve raises quail and fun stuff, and Verna has her own channel on Saturday mornings. She does lives and does homesteading stuff in her apartment. So check them out. All right, welcome, welcome. Oh, you had to finish dinner. Oh, okay. Well, Verna, I know we talked about, we'll kind of talk, it's just a brief Facebook thing, but I hope you're doing okay with the passing of your friend, and I wish you peace. Yeah. Well, Verna's dinner was tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwich. I did not like grilled cheese sandwiches because I always thought you had to have tomato soup with them. And the tomato soup that my mom made was, Campbell's from a can, which I'm pretty sure as an adult, it has bell pepper in it, and bell pepper and I don't get along. And yeah, grilled cheese, I didn't really understand that I could have the grilled cheese without the tomato soup for a very long time. And as an adult, I figured out I thought I just didn't like stir fry. Like stir fry is nasty. Well, it was nasty because my mom always put bell pepper in it. And like I said, bell pepper and I don't get along. There's an actual effect. And I did not, nobody connected that that was an actual effect until I was an adult. And you don't want to be around me after that. So, yeah, now I love stir fry. I don't put nasty things in it. And that's one thing we do with the Cook With Me Live, the monthly membership get together, is we make all sorts of things. And guess what? If you don't like an ingredient, you can switch it up. You don't like something, you can make something else and talk with us. It's a good time, and yeah, that's a lesson learned for sure. But I know you like tomato soup, so good job. All right. Yep. Vernon will try and distract you. Oh, Steve wants to know if you do any additives on the grilled cheese, like onions or mustard. I have actually, and I did not do this first. I do eat weird things, but I did not do this first. Is you can put dill pickle in the grilled cheese sandwich, and it's actually good. Yep. Oh, garlic butter, pepper jack cheese. That's it. That's good. That's good. Thank you for the link, Steve. All right. Oh, thunder and resistance now cooled right down. PJ says, yeah, it clouded over last night. It started clouding, and if you guys saw the video from today, the sunset was absolutely amazing. Just bright hot pink and really, really pretty. I don't know that we're going to get that today. I think it might be too thick a cloud today for the light to get through. It's been cloudy pretty much all day. We did see blue sky later in the afternoon, but it looks like it's clouding back over. It had this weird little like kind of precipitation this morning. The clouds are low, but it was like more than mist and less than rain. It was falling, so I counted it as a trace on my Kokoros reporting, my precipitation reporting. So, yeah. Verna put a link to her channel. Thank you. All right. We're all caught up. Where's everybody? What else is going on today? All right. So, I wanted to update you guys on Penne. She's completely fine. Like, this isn't like a bad update. I just kind of wanted to step in again for anybody who didn't like see the transformation. It was about the same time that Mama Kitty became kind of okay with me petting her. So I don't know if I was just putting off good vibes or what. Maybe I was a little more in tune to be patient. That could be it too. But so Penny is a rabbit. She's one of my breeder does, and she really has not been very personable. She, if you put your hand into her space, she would rush at you. And I mean, she even went like this to me at one time. And that's not how I raise my rabbits. Everybody else is fine. Ravioli and rigatoni were from birth. I knew I was saving a rabbit. I ended up saving two from that litter. And so I handled them multiple times a day, every day, and got the biggest one and the most friendly one. Like Ravioli is only here today because she was super friendly. That's the only reason. I was only planning on keeping one. What happened with Penne and Risotto, those are the black ones, is their mom died, and they were, I think, 7 weeks old when their mom died, and they were the only two of the litter, and they were both female, and I was like, well, I guess you're a breeder now. So I didn't spend the time. I didn't spend the time to, that I did, I spent some intensive time with Ravioli and Rigatoni when they were little. And I did not have that intense time with them. I mean, they knew who I was. They knew I bring food and water. Not water. Water came automatically, but they knew I'm the food bringer. But they didn't really have a relationship with me. And I know I put a couple out there of just like sitting, talking, telling stories or whatever while I'm holding the rabbits. Um, and that's a good thing to do, but it's really not the same as from birth. Risotto was got to a point where she's like, okay, you can pet me. Yeah, my ear itches. It's always the same ear. It always does, not bad, but a little bit. And she's like, okay, yeah, that's good. Okay, I'm done. That was her extent. Like, yes, you may pet me, but I will not approach you. Penne did not want anything to do with me. She wanted food and water, and that's it. Like, she'd go away. That being said, she didn't fight me when I, tried to when I got the nest box out or anything like that. But what I came to realize is I believe she doesn't see well. And once I had that realization, I kind of figured out, okay, well, how do I let her know I'm there? Because I was letting her know by talking. I was, hey, Penny, I'm coming, and she may not hear well either. I don't know. No, she hears just fine. But she wasn't associating me talking to, hey, I'm about to touch you. And so then I have a pitcher, like a water pitcher, plastic one that I use as a scoop for the food. And so I would set that right in front of her nose. She could touch the nose to it because she recognized it. She could, it came into her space every day. And I got it close to her and she would like check it out, touch her nose. And once she was comfortable with that, I would have her touch her nose and then pet her while I talked to her and touch and pet and touch and pet. And it was only like a couple weeks, I think, of doing that. And she just turned around. Now she comes for pets. She's like, yes, pet me, please. Um, Risotto is doing the same thing. Risotto did the same thing before Penne, but now they both want pets, which is really nice, except for her in the back. They don't come up to the door. They're like, okay, I'm in my petting spot. Well, okay, now I got to reach. So she's doing fantastic. And she's raised like 1.5 kind of, like the ones out in the pasture. Those aren't hers. Not the ones in the pasture. The ones that I most recently processed, that was um, her litter that was in there when she had that transformation, and they were pretty young when she did that, and they were much calmer. And this litter that she has now is very calm. And so when she was freaking out a lot, and her babies were always high energy, always high strung, always reacted to every single noise, even when Risotto's bunnies, which are right next door, share a wire, they didn't react the same. And it totally was the energy of mom. The energy of mom has now changed. She's much more chill, much more relaxed. Her muscles are more relaxed too. She let me give her a little massage now. And her attitude has changed, I think, as a factor of her being comfortable. I think it's not necessarily that she had a bad attitude, is that she was scared or uncertain every time I was there. I don't know why. She should have been able to make that connection, but she just didn't. So anyway, I want to share that as a topic, because I know a lot of people want to get close to the animals. They want to know how to become friends with their quail, or, hey, my chickens don't like me. And I think sometime I'm going to do a video on this. I think I got to think on it a little bit. And I think I'm going to do a video on this, but it's more a concept of, 'cause usually what we raise are prey animals, right? So a dog and cat, or those are predators, but basically all farm animals are going to be prey animals, even up to the horses and cows. And so you have to think about that like a prey animal. And if I'm a rabbit and I live in a space this big, and somebody comes into my space every day, they better be a good somebody, you know? And if I'm not sure if they're a good somebody, I would feel very defensive because I'm back into a corner. So think about it that way. Think about handicaps your animals might have that they, you might not know about. I mean, you hear about all the time that dogs are deaf and you don't know they're deaf you know, until they go to the vet or until they pass and the vet's like, hey, what's going on here? So anyway, I wanted to bring that up as a topic to look at things in a different way. And I'm going to do a video on that at some point soon. If you guys have stories, I would love to hear them. And I think helping each other learn how you got through these trials. Different people might be doing different things. So that would be fun to hear if you guys, or read, if you guys are willing to share. So that is the topic of the day. I introduced it pretty early, but that's the topic of the day. All right, let's go up and see what people said. Yes. Yeah. Verna says they both have come a long way, Katrina. You have proved patience is a virtue. Yes. Yes. I even got to pet Mama Kitty tonight. She's usually a morning pet, not an evening pet, but she wanted some pets. She was like, "Are you sure I should come up there?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm sure. Come for pets. Come for pets." I still have to convince her to come up, but she no longer has that furrowed brow and like, "Are you sure?" Yeah. Yeah, Mama Kitty and Penne have both really surprised me, actually. I never thought that I would be able to pet Mama Kitty. And like last night, 2 nights ago, I was sitting out on the porch at nighttime watching the stars and shooting stars. And often I'll sit out there at night and just watch. And Ringo was with me. He was, of course, curled up next to me getting pet, and then he'd attack my hand, and then he'd want pets again. You know how cats are. And Mama Kitty was like sitting really close, and she kept on looking up. And I'm like, she's going to join us one day. One day, she's going to get up on that bench, and I will have to be perfectly still when she does it. And she'll join us. I know it's going to happen, but I don't know, a couple years down the road, maybe. I don't know. But they absolutely have. Desiree's here. Hello. Welcome, welcome. How are your birdies doing? All right. Tommy's here. Howdy, Earthlings. Howdy, Earthling. Hope you're doing well. All right. Everybody saying hi. Everybody saying hi. You guys must be typing a book right now. Anybody have a story about either how you got an animal to turn around and do good things, or how you change your mindset to change to recognize the problem differently? Yeah. Anime says, I got one bird I'm definitely going to call. Okay. You have a jerk bird? Is that the other way to say that? Yeah, Smilo. I haven't heard her do this in a while. And this morning she did her superhero call. And we used to do that all the time back and forth, and she stopped for a while for some reason. And then she'd do it every once in a while. But this time she just did it randomly. She used to do it when she was really little. Smilo's a chicken. And then I would encourage it, and I would go and she'd go because that's what she started. She started it. And then I would encourage it, and we would just do it back and forth a lot. But she did that this morning, so it makes me smile. My superhero chicken, which is somewhat laying, no egg today, but there was eggs last 2 days, so they're going on 4.5 years. Is that right? I think it's 4.5 years. So, yeah, I have a goal of doing 2 things this week. I have more than that to do. But two things is I want to call the fence people that are going to put up the fence around the garden and the fence around the chicken and rabbit area. Um, and then I want to start putting together the aviary playlist. Putting together a playlist after you've done the videos takes quite a bit of time because as far as I know, because I did that before, you have to like open every single one of them and go down and click the playlist. Um, but I do need to do that quail aviary playlist because it's been requested, and yeah, I have more things to do, but those are my two non-outdoor goals this week. I feel sad that I can't just have these as like, hey, that's one day. Maybe I'll do it in Monday. Maybe I won't. All right. We have stories. Very much a jerk. Oh yeah, Desiree. My first batch. There was an Egyptian, um, a jumbo Egyptian, and he was small. He was smaller than the other ones, but as soon as I put him in, and that was my first hatch. I had a really, really, really super sweet male that kind of sad when I ended up processing him. He had beautiful yellow fat, but he was the sweetest. He would, how sometimes in the crumbles you find a whole pellet. He found it. Usually what they do is they're like, "Oh, yay, it's mine! Go, 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 go!" and they play football with it. But what he did it a couple times, is he held it and he put his head down, and he did this really really soft sound, and he was calling over one of the ladies. He had a favorite, um, and he was giving it to her as a gift. And I just think that's so sweet and gentleman like, and he was awesome. But little jerk guy ended up basically jumping him and caused some damage when he got older. So what I should have done as soon as he started running around trying to mate at 3 weeks old, and trying to boss around the male at 3 weeks old, I should have removed him then, but I didn't know any better. I think removing earlier is better than later when you have a real jerk. And that's the only jerk I've had. So I don't think it happens very often if you had good genetics, and it's going to happen, every once in a while. But yeah. All right. Let's see. Verna says, when I first met Lucy's a dog, they could not even walk her on the leash. Look how far she came. Wow. Wow. So was it just patience that you took, and you patience, or was she food motivated or toy motivated, or just love motivated and patience? Because I want people to hear these stories and be enthused. Now, when I do my video, you guys should put your comments underneath that too. uh, Tommy says we adopted a 20-year-old African gray parrot that I thought would never like me. After 2 weeks, she gave me kisses. Lets me give her head scratches and rub her belly. Sits on my shoulder, will fly and land on my arm. Have very lengthy conversations with me. I don't know how they retain this much information. This is a dang bird, y'all. Are those the ones that live like 80 years old? They live quite a long time. I know that. Um, yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, patience and interaction. Desiree says the one I thought was going to be a hen started crowing and getting mean. Okay. Um, Vet sexing. I mean, if it's mean, he's going to do away with it anyway. But I would encourage you to practice vent sexing on that one, because, like I said, I did have one once that was a female, and she crowed when she was little. I think because she was surrounded by boys, probably wanted to be incognito. Yeah. Tommy says her name is Bella. We adopted her from a friend of mine that passed away here recently. Oh, she was mildew. Wow. Well, I'm glad you guys have a good relationship because those those guys live a long time. Oh, poor bird too, to not know where a person went. Yeah. Verna says, yes, Tommy, the larger parrots are great at holding conversations. I had a macaw that was special. Wow. Wow. The conversations in full paragraphs she can put together? Oh, wow. Wow. I think he said African gray. Wasn't that right? Um, they can tell you what they think about someone too. Yeah. Yeah. There, I don't know what kind of bird it was. I think I say parrot, but I don't know actually know. There's a lot of talking birds, but there was one bird that lived across the street and over from me at my last neighborhood, and it would meow like a cat out in the rain, and it would tell people to shut up, which I'm sure it got told. There's some cuss words, and then it would whistle the Winnie the Pooh theme, Winnie the Pooh, but not the last part. So it's got to annoy some people, right? Yeah. Desiree says, also, all three babies look like they are turning out to be male. All right. Yep, African gray parrot. Okay, so Verna was talking about a blue and gold macaw. Yep. Exactly, Verna. Even the best breeder will throw out a major jerk. Yeah, it's just you don't want that. You don't want to deal with it. Is basically where it comes to. Like if you're having to deal with that, excuse me. If you're having to do that, you're number one, you're managing more than you should. Number two, you are encouraging injuries, really. If you're actively leaving them in the group, you're encouraging injuries. Um, your females may not lay as much because if they are stressed out, which jerks stress them out, they may not lay as much, and they're also probably not going to let him do his job. Um, yeah, yeah. Desiree says my grandma has a blue nose Amazon. I don't know that one. Yeah, so Lucy, every time she pulled, I stopped and waited for her to come to me. Yeah, yeah, leash training a dog. I've leash trained, well, kind of my neighbor's dog, my old neighbor. We did a lot of training. He didn't know anything. He was not in good shape when she got him, but I remember I watched him because they were afraid to leave him home alone. I watched him when they went somewhere, and um, we were doing sit, lay down, sit, lay down, sit, lay down, and then I thought, every time you teach a dog to sit, the next thing is going to be lay down. I wonder if he knows lay down, sit. And so when he was laying down, I told him to sit, and you could tell like the wheels were going in his head, like, what am I supposed to do? What does she want me to do? And so he was laying down and he lifted up his butt and slammed it on the ground. To him, that was sit. That's why he was sitting so hard each time, is you put your butt on the ground. So yeah. Um, okay, so 65 plus for the African gray. She's an heirloom for sure. Yeah, that's something you have to consider, is the age of the animal that you have and how long they last. I have a friend that has tortoises too. They can last a long time. Yeah. Okay, Anime is asking, how do I finish off a quail to make it have more fat? I remember someone talking about milk and something mixed together one day during a stream. That was probably Linda. And she did this with Cornish cross. No, not Cornish cross. She did this with breasts, American breast chickens first, and it worked. So American breast chickens are the red, white, and blue ones. And in France, they're just called breast chickens. And they over there they basically feed them. I think it's grain soaked in milk. The feed is soaked in milk, and that makes them tender and tastier and all of those things. So she did try that with quail, and I don't remember if it was the last 2 weeks that she did that, and I think it was grain soaked in milk. And you I think you like do it the night before, if I remember right. If someone else remembers better than that, then let us know. But she did milk. For good fat, age will do it, but your muscle will get a little more tough. But age will definitely do it. I mean, you get yellow fat with that. But yeah, I think milk soaked. I don't know what kind of grain. If it was just a feed that she soaked. Yeah, Amazons are great. I got an Amazon package today. A guy pulled up to the driveway and in a personal car. Um, Drove from San Francisco. His route is up this way, and he's going back. I'm an hour and a half from the Oregon California border. That is a long route to do in your personal car when you don't have a truck. Like that's. I told him I hope you're getting paid well. Okay, Verna says oatmeal and cornmeal for 2 weeks. That's good. Desiree said, I let my favorite quail run around my room yesterday. I trust him and he doesn't run away when you pick him up. Got a cute video of him screaming, oh no. Oh no. Did you potty train him? Because I've heard of people doing that. Tommy says she talking about the parrot. She calls her dogs over, whistles for them, and now balls like a chicken too after being here. Does the full balk, 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 balk. My mom can make that sound. I am not good at it. Oh, thank you for your blessings. Yeah, sounds like a handful of a bird, doesn't it? I agree. But that's what you get into with the older birds and like the ones that live a long time. Plus they talk. So like, yeah. Yep. Tommy says, and yes, she misses her person. Well said. Yeah, she asked for her IV. That's her lost person's name, and repeats her good mornings. Oh, sweet little sayings. Sounds just like Ivy. Oh, that's something special, because that is true. When they learn it, they learn like the tone of voice that the person is saying it in, and their thing. So you have a living memory. That's pretty cool, though. That's really cool to be able to like hear her voice without her being there. Um, yeah. Your quail like to honk? Desiree, you can put that on the Friends of Sow and Tare Facebook group. You can share that there and people can see it there. There's a link for that. And if you haven't joined that group, go ahead and join. It's free. And do answer the questions and accept the rules, because I want to make sure you're not a robot. Yeah. He's not potty trained. I'd like to make a diaper or buy one for him. So what I've heard of at least one person doing is they will let him run around, and then once they poop, they pick up the bird and put it wherever the bathroom is. In that person's case, it was a paper towel in the corner. And so every time they poop, you pick them up and you put them over there. And so then eventually they learn that that's where you poop. And for this person, it worked. Awesome. You've already joined. Awesome. Yeah. Verna says Goldie used to call for me using the same way my youngest used to call me, Mom, Mama, Mommy. That's cute. That's cute. Yeah. So anyway, that was just been my interaction. I shoveled rabbit poo from underneath penne and risotto last night, night before last. There we go. And before when I did that, her and her babies were like, ah! And when I did it this time, she was like, oh, you're here? Okay, got it. I'll calm down. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. Verna says my sister was visiting. When she came in the house, Goldie called for me. She yelled up the stairs, I'm not Mama, I'm Aunt Barb. Oh no. Goldie cussed her out, huh? Oh my goodness. Oh, Desiree says we put down a new carpet yesterday and he thought it looked like food. They like to explore. I mean, just like babies explore with their mouth. They want to know what everything is. Yeah. Um yeah. So that is especially if the carpet has like specks on it, I think. Like, you know how they don't make solid carpets anymore. The carpet I got, which is not here yet, is solid. But yeah. Tommy says she willed an extravagant fish tank, 180 gallons, with everything. A bougie tropical bucket list fish. That's the new big tank behind me in my vids. Wow. Well, I hope you are finding peace with her passing, and it's good to know that her animals went to someone who cares, because that is something that happens when people pass sometimes, is the animals, get shuffled around or into a shelter or, sold or whatever. And so it's good to know that they're in good hands. In good hands. Yeah. Um, well, I got my plants back from my plant nana, my neighbor who repotted my plants for me, and they're doing well. And I have more plants to plant. My another neighbor, she had extra tomatoes that she didn't plant, and so she gave me some tomatoes. So it is super late in the year to be planting things, but I guess everybody around here, everything's late anyway. I think it's because we had such a wet spring. A lot of the initial crops failed, or didn't come up, and yeah, a lot of things are really late. So anyway, I will be planting that, and it'll be good. I have some plants, not that many. I'm not going to plant anything from seed at this point. I'll maybe do a fall garden, but not right now. um, yeah, other than that, things have pretty much been a little bit kind of status quo around here. Feed and move the bunnies, feed the kitties, play with the kitties, try and get some stuff done inside, and yeah, some other stuff too. But that has been pretty status quo. Um, who's getting stuff out of the garden? Somebody tell me you're getting good stuff out of the garden. I have the cherry plums are starting. They kind of were starting last week and the week before, just a little bit. And I'm thinking, well, I'm thinking I'm going to process rabbits this weekend. So it might not be this weekend, but maybe next week they'll be ready to just pick what I can. And I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do with them, but I kind of think maybe like a jelly because I don't want to pit all those things. They're this big. They're little plums. So if you have any recipes for that kind of thing, that would be good. Otherwise, I can do like a juice and make it into a sauce of some sort. There is a Asian plum sauce that I have made. I don't know that this one would do well with it. I think it might be too tart. But there is an Asian plum sauce that I made with my plums that I used to have, and that is absolutely amazing. This next year, I want to plant things based on what I'm going to preserve because I feel like that needs to happen. I don't need peaches right now. I have peaches. I need to eat more peaches. I know I'll be canning a lot of apple things and pear things. So if you guys have good recipes for apples and pears, we will be doing that. Yeah. Um, oh, let's see. Verna's sister was visiting when she came in the house. Oh, I got that already. Okay. Verna says I have been given zucchini, eggplant, and patty pan squash. That is awesome. I used to plant patty pan squash every year. It's good when it's young. When it's older, it gets kind of funky to cook, but it's good when it's young. Yeah. And good evening, for Food Forest Permaculture. Good evening. How are you? All right, Anime put the video on the Facebook, so that's good. Anybody who wants to see it, go to the Friends of Sow and Tare Facebook group after this and check that out. Oh, Verna wants to know: have you ever seen cherry plums that are fuzzy? No, fuzzy like a nectarine. Could it be that you have really small nectar, or not nectarine, like a peach? Could it be that you have a really small peach, or what would that be? Not a plum cot, but one of those crosses. I have not seen that. All right. Thumbprint cookies with a plum jam. Add some lemon to it. That sounds good. Oh, thank you, Howie. Says hello. Um, yeah, and that is a good idea, but I'm looking for like less sugar stuff. Y'all know I love my sugar, but I need to have less of it. All right. All right. Howie's doing well, and best to us. Okay, so Verna says I slice the plum, maybe. Like it as potatoes and fry it? Wait. Say that again, because I don't know what slice the pan means. And fried plums doesn't sound good. Peach plum are fuzzy. Okay, so is that a cross, Howie? Yeah. Ooh, Desiree says there's a persimmon tree in a parking lot that has fruit, and I'm excited to pick a few when they're ripe. Awesome. Do you know which kind they are? Are they the kind you can bite into and eat, or are they the kind that you wait until they're basically black and cook with? Because I made that mistake. I did not know what a persimmon was for a very long time. When I was living with my grandma, when I was doing my master's, uh, she had one in the fruit bowl. Somebody gave it to her. I don't know who gives a person one fruit. I don't know, but she was given a fruit. She didn't have a clue what it was, and it was just sitting in there, and it had been sitting there for a couple weeks. I said, "Grandma, what is this?" And she goes, "I don't know. Somebody gave that to me." So should we open it and try it? He goes, sure. So I cut into it and I bit into it, and all the moisture came out of my mouth. Yeah, very astringent, very astringent. That is the kind you're supposed to bake with. And really, ideally, it should go through a frost before it comes off a tree. But the other kind, I absolutely love the other kind, that you eat basically right off the tree. Yeah. So make sure you know which kind it is before you bite into it or pick a bunch. Okay, like a peach, according to Google, is a cherry plum. Okay. Oh, patty pan, like it is potatoes. Got it, Verna. I thought you were saying plums, and I was like, what? No? Yeah, that's pretty much how I do squash. Here's a tip. If you don't know how to cook something out of your garden, stir fry it. It doesn't mean you need soy sauce. No soy sauce needed. Um, Stir fry it and it will taste good. I have stir fried fruits like plums into things and it just gives it extra sweet. I mean, if you think about it, all these sauces have, sugar in them too. So you can actually do that. You don't know how to cook something, that's my recommendation. I mean, as long as it's not going to kill you, right? Um, yeah, that's my recommendation. Um, Desiree says, if anyone sees the video, please tell you what the honking means. All right, we'll look at that after the live. Okay, you think it's the one you can bite into, but I'd have to wait until it ripens a bit. Yeah, try one first before you pick a bunch. That's my recommendation. Yeah, if it's like a fat little pumpkin one, then that's the one for eating. If it's like a drop, like a teardrop, that's the one for cooking. I mean, you can cook for the other one. Just realize it's more of a fruit, and then the persimmon that is more elongated. It's used more like how mashed bananas are, like after you've frozen them to make like bread and stuff. It's used more in that way. Um, yeah, very soft. Um, just butter is all you cook it in? Yeah, you just cook butter or avocado oil or olive oil or lard, whatever. Um, yeah, I don't clean out the seeds either, Verna, unless they're like hard. Yeah, I would just cut all the way across. Yeah. Common persimmon or Eastern persimmon. That's probably the native one. And they only get like that big, right? I don't know if you no you just moved, so you probably don't probably haven't seen it yet, right? Um, I have never seen. I've never had the native one. I've had the one from the grocery store. So yeah, but yeah, what I have ripe right now is the cherry plums, and the Douglas squirrels or chicories have been getting. And I should have gone out there when I started seeing them go after them. The hazelnuts, hazelnuts, yes, hazelnuts. The native ones. They've been crawling all over the bushes, getting those. Now, what's interesting with that is I always thought you're supposed to wait until they dropped out of the husk, it's browns. The husks are still green right now, and they're going after them. So I guess that's when you have to go after them if you want to outcompete the squirrels. Yeah. Okay, so Desiree's first time seeing a persimmon. So something I learned recently is that okay, so this is not recent. Fruit trees are either male and female in one, or male and female, or avocado is the only one I know about this that's A type and B type. But if you don't have any male persimmons, and I'm not talking about the native one because I don't know about the native one, but the one you grow, if you have only female persimmons, then they won't have seeds. And if you have a male nearby, then they will have seeds. And so either way, you get the fruit. It's just they're not fertilized. So that is an interesting thing. I asked my boss if he could send me some seeds. This is last winter, or this last winter, so I could plant them here. And he's like, I don't want to do all that. I'll just send you fruit. I'm like, hey, that's better. And he sent me fruit, and out of that, I got one seed. I was like, what's going on? Yeah. So yeah, persimmons are good. I don't know about the native one. I'm gonna guess it probably has a lot of seeds and little flesh because that's kind of what our native fruits here do. But somebody that's actually um, had them can let people know. Yeah. So back talking to bunnies, not talking to bunnies. I do talk to the bunnies, but talking about bunnies. Down in the pasture, they're making a pretty good way. I wasn't really sure how that would work for, you hear about rotational grazing and, cows and chickens and cows and chickens and all that. And I wasn't sure how fast it would work with the rabbits. And right now they're just laying nutrition packets. Nothing's really happening because it hasn't rained in a while. But where it did rain, where they were out there and it was raining, those areas are greening up, and the areas they haven't been to are not. So I think in just a partial season, it's improved the pasture already. So before the next batch of babies are born, which won't be for several months, I need to get the other tractors out there so I'm prepared to put them on pasture as soon as they're ready. That didn't happen this year because I didn't have the tractors ready in time. And then I had oh, well, they're not out of there yet. So I need to make some more tractors. But if I have that, they're not eating a whole lot of pellets. They are eating some, but they're not eating a whole lot of pellets. And I can see it being a much more affordable endeavor if they're mostly pasture fed. As it is right now, they're pasture finished. Yes, they are having some pellets, but they're eating a lot of pasture. And having pasture finish is really good. But if I actually get them out there at 5 weeks old, which is what, when I have typically weaned them, this year doesn't count, then that will be really, really good because it will reduce food costs and it will increase the time they're on the pasture, leaving their little pellets of nutrition. So yeah, it's kind of impressive what they're doing already, and you kind of have to look to see it. But I see these little green leaves popping up where they've been when it was raining. So I anticipate that once we get the winter rain, that'll be put into the soil and hopefully have a good effect. Um, my next um, my next kind of need out there, besides knowing that I can put the animals out there, is to really learn the grasses and their nutritional values to know what I should encourage and what I should not. Yeah. Okay. Verna says, oh, it warns you to wait until they're fully ripe or they will be astringent. So that's the wild type. Okay. You can fry those up like potatoes? So they are supposed to be cooked? Okay. Yeah, plantain bananas. We used to have burro bananas. Burro as in like a donkey. Bananas. They have a triangle shape, and those were really good. And you cook those, and those were really good with eggs. But we don't have that kind of stuff over here. We have very little choices here. Yeah. Oh, okay. You don't fry up the Verna's correcting. You don't fry up the persimmons. You fry up plantain bananas. Yep. Yeah, plantains are really tasty when you get them ripe, and they look overripe when they're ripe. But if you do them before they're ripe, they're not great. They're not great. Howie's checking in or offering a gift. Hi, Howie. Yeah. So no one else has a story about making friends with the animals, getting them calmer. Um, I mean, I think patience and time is pretty much it, and then uh, making sure you are um, aware of any handicaps they may have, or aware of any just abnormalities that they may have. Another abnormality Penny has is one of her feet, or one of her back feet is a half a foot. She was born that way, and she gets around just fine, but she holds it up sometimes. Um, I don't know that played into her relationship with me, but it is a handicap. And when I pet her, I make sure I give her extra massages on her back end, because um, when you are doing things unevenly, it can stress one side over the other. So I do, now that she lets me, I do give her little massages on her back end. And she's like, oh, this is nice. Desiree says if you eat them overripe, they taste exactly like a good banana. The plantains, they're a little different. Um, I mean, if you cook them, I don't think I've ever had them not cooked. Yeah. Yeah, so Verna says study the animals to find out why they act the way they do and how you can make it easier for them. Yep. Desiree says me and my mom got a few for fufu one day and kept one to ripen and eat raw. It was very good. Okay. I don't know what fufu is. But yeah, it's good to experiment with the fruits that you have access to, and try different things. That's good. Um, but yeah, so going back to Verna's comment, a lot of times you see comments of people that say, "Oh, well, quail are really good at dying," or they're always doing something and not surviving. And I go back to, okay, well, they never had a parent. If you were thrown into the world and you never had a parent, you probably wouldn't make it either. So you have to give your birds some sort of parenting. And number one way to do that is to have a nana bird. Um, and I had that, and it was wonderful. But number two way to do that is say, okay, I need to baby proof this place, and you have to baby proof stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So the last more exotic thing I got at the store was melons. They were good. They were different. I saved some seeds, but yeah, I don't even know where to get a plantain here, unless they have it at Safeway. That is one thing, like living further out. It's not really a food desert, but it kind of is. Like you're limited in your choices. We have food, but we're limited in our choices of a variety. Yeah. Desiree says B is doing some soft hunks right now. um, so quail do make a bunch of different sounds, and they could. I mean, they mean different things, but I would be curious when he's honking. is he honking at you or just in general? Because sometimes there can be like a contented sound. And then also, it could be like, how is he reacting with the other ones? Yeah. Howie bought 25 pounds of Duke blueberries today. I am not familiar with the Duke kind, but that is a lot of blueberries. What are you doing with them? Blueberries are wonderful. They're absolutely wonderful. Um, I would like to do. What I would like to do is to have a bunch of fruit powders. So that's the freeze dryer and then powder it. Um, and once you have the fruit powders, I will do it at some point. Um, I would like to make Jello. So you shouldn't have to add any sugar. I don't know that if that's true or not, but um, just with gelatin and water and fruit powder, and I think that would be really really nice. Has anybody done that? Anybody heard of that? I know Steve and Verna have freeze dryers. Have you done that? Because it'd be fun. Frozen mostly for treats. That works. Blueberry cake and pancakes. Yep, absolutely pancakes. Um, Anime says he honks all the time. This was a screamer I had since hatch day. Maybe he got a hoarse voice. He just loves to be vocal for some reason. All right. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, pancakes are good, and I hardly ever do them, and I should do them more. They're so easy. Um, they're really easy. And also waffles. Waffles are a good thing to do when you have a lot of something that you don't know how to use it. If it's dairy related, so if it's a yogurt or sour cream or cottage cheese or something like that, and you can actually use that as the liquid in the recipe, and it will turn out really, really, really good. So I've done that when someone gave me a bunch of cream cheese and a bunch of yogurt, and I made it into waffles. It was like plain yogurt too. I made it into waffles and froze a bunch of them. And then you just have, take it out of the freezer, pop it in the toaster, and there's your waffle. So that's another good thing to do. Blueberry bread. That does sound good. It does sound good. Verna says it sounds about right. If you do add sugar, it would be less than what others consider normal. Yep. Well, I'm just thinking like it'd be nice to actually have, you could have a packet of gelatin or whatever because they do come in packets. But you guys remember Tang? You know those big containers of Tang? They make those containers for gelatin, and it you can just spoon out whatever you need and then close it back up. They do also sell them in the single packet, but I have that and I want to be able to use it in a good way. So that's one thing that I'm going to be looking forward to at some point. Right now, the powders that I have is I have, well, I can make tomato powder. It just needs to go through the blender. That I wouldn't do Jello out of tomato powder. But you could do it out of peaches and peach powder. And so that's something that I think would be really good. I already do peach water, like you add a little bit to the water and you mix it up. And if you wait a little bit, it actually hydrates it a little bit. And so it gives it more flavor when it's hydrated. And I've done it in that. And you can put it over sweets or, sprinkle it on something. It's really good. Blueberries in cereal is nice, Desiree. Yeah, anime says I normally don't add much of anything when I make jams. So if you are adding pectin, you have to add some, and there are a couple different types of pectin that you can add less, like Pomoma's pectin, which I've never used, but you add less sugar. But it is a chemical reaction that happens, so it has to be in there. If you're making it without that pectin, I think it's called compote. Is that wrong? I don't remember what it's called. But you can just cook it down until it's thicker. Yeah. Blueberry peach pie is heaven. That sounds good. When are you coming over? Verna says Jello out of tomato powder would be tomato aspic. I don't know what that is. Tomato aspic? I gotta look that up. Oh, these are for people that drink like V8 juice. I'm not one of those people. Not one of those people. Give me a spaghetti sauce or a salsa or, something like that. I did use today on my breakfast, I did eggs with cheese and I crumpled. I had my last freeze drying video. I had the pre-frozen cubes of salsa. And so I had those in a bag. I didn't put an oxygen absorber in because I figured I could just use it. But I took one of those and I just crumbled it over it and then put it back on. And the moisture from the cheese melting rehydrated it enough. And that was very good. That was very good. Yeah. Yeah, so no gelatin and very little to no sugar until it thickens. Yep. Okay. Desiree likes to make rhubarb and strawberry pie. Excuse me. Maybe some blueberries, and it's good. I'm not a rhubarb fan. I do have two plants. I got them mostly in anticipation of being able to sell stuff. Secondarily, it's supposed to keep gophers out of an area. Now, I think in order to do that, you have to have like a border of them, but it might be a good experiment. Has anybody done anything like that with rhubarb to prevent gophers? I'm curious. I'm curious because I can see how it would work if it was like a total border, but I feel like gophers would just go around it. Right, is good jam or pie tastes good on vanilla ice cream too. Yep, yep. I think I have a video. Blackberry juice, I think, is what I used. I made blackberry juice, and that turned into it was basically I don't think it was even a syrup. I think it was just straight juice, and I put that into a milkshake, and that was very good. Yeah. Verna has a bag of cherries that I need to pit. Perhaps I will make a small cherry pie for Wednesday. That sounds like a good plan. Sounds like a good plan. I need to either find my pitter or buy a new one. Um, I don't know where it is. I've unpacked the kitchen and it's not anywhere in there. Versus Desiree, when I was 12, I made pear butter for an ice cream topper. Pear butter is absolutely delicious, and I need to remember that I have it in my pantry. I keep forgetting that I have it. Oh, your grandma eats it a lot, Desiree? Yeah. Cherry ice cream. That would be good too. Um, that would be good. You can make a sorbet. You can make a sorbet. My cherries are done. I didn't get very many because I don't have the right equipment to pick high up. Um, the fox got it for me. Jam is great. Yes. I'm looking for sauces, I think. I think I should focus more on like sauces and that kind of stuff. I really feel like I need to learn how to cook those more and preserve them. Um, one that I really want to do is I want to have different curry sauces. And the freeze dryer, I could make basically like a bouillon for curry, because I love curry. But I need to get my high tunnel up, which is a little ways away, and time wise, and I want to get curry leaf tree and a whole bunch of stuff. So that will go far for sauces. And the thing is, if you do that, you can rehydrate it with bone broth. I think that would be really good. Yeah. Fruit is great. That should be a t-shirt, Desiree. And Howie says, good night, fellow earthlings. Great live stream. Making mint jelly tomorrow. Awesome, awesome. I have made mint jelly. It is, I think I still have some. I made way too much mint jelly at one point. I think I made spearmint jelly and I made chocolate mint jelly. Yeah, good luck. It'll be refreshing. And that goes well on ice cream too. I struggled a little bit for the mint jelly to understand what it goes in. I didn't have very many things that it goes in because I'm not it's like, typically on pork. I'm not a pork person. And I don't know what else it typically goes on. Yeah. Somebody let me know. Lamb. I haven't gotten into lamb either. Yeah, mint is a weird. Mint, I think of as. I think the only cooking I have put mint in is ziti sauce. And that's not even cooked. I think that's it. Yeah. Desiree likes lamb too. Yeah, I need to get over that they're young. I mean, I know I process the rabbits when they're young, but that's what I would need to get over to make that right. Mint ice cream. Yeah, but you could just put the mint in the ice cream then. Would you have to make it into a jelly first? Or would it be like, hey, this is already made. Let's scoop it here and put it there. The fresh mint ice cream is to die for. I've never had it. I've never had it fresh. Yeah. That would be good. Ice cream is good. Mint cheesecake. Okay. So with this, you're taking your jelly and you're mixing it in. So you're using the jelly as if it were like an extract. Is that what I'm hearing? Be adventurous. I am adventurous. Too adventurous with foods, some people would say. Yeah. Yeah, I got to get some stuff growing before that happen. Minty new potatoes. Now you're just making things up. I mean, does it make new potatoes because they were old and they got new because they're minty fresh? What is minty new potatoes? Or does that mean they're small potatoes? No. I love that. No, you're wrong. What is a minty new potato? I've never heard of this. Yes, exactly, Rita. Can't see mint with potatoes. But potato is just kind of a bleh, you know? It's a base. It's a base. I mean, maybe, I make creamy Colorado potato fudge. Yes, fudge made out of potatoes. And that with some mint would go well. See, I am adventurous. More adventurous than you knew. Yeah, creamy Colorado potato fudge came out of a magazine. My mom cut it out of a magazine, and it is basically a little bit of mashed potatoes, um, unsweetened chocolate, and some other things. I think there might be butter in there. I don't know. And a whole heck of a lot of powdered sugar. And it is delicious. It is delicious. Yeah, potato fudge. A candy. Yeah, a huge amount of powdered sugar. Yep. Mint in salads. Yeah, but not mint jelly in salads. Or maybe. I don't know. Okay, here's instructions for mint new potatoes. Boil new potato, add mint whilst boiling minty potatoes. Did you make this up? Because you had extra mint? Um, where does this come from? Somebody try it. Somebody else other than Howie try it. See if he's onto something. Yeah. Yeah, I think of potatoes as like a base. Um, I should make lefse at some point. I made that once. It's like a potato tortilla, I guess. Kind of. Yeah. I don't know. I went to an event one time and there was these little tiny potatoes and I was like, "Oh, those are great. Roasted potatoes like they're super good." And so I got like probably more than I should have. And because it was a potluck. And I bit into one and it was like salted potatoes. It was like biting into like a brick of salt. It was so nasty. And I know some people love that. I am not one of those people. Yeah. Okay. Howie says mint tea. And no, I learned from old folks when I was young and living off the land. All right. So they're like, hey, this needs some green. Oops, we didn't put in spinach. That was mint. Oh, well. Hey, this is pretty good. I bet that's how it happened. Oh. Learning to live off the land. That is awesome. I've pretty much picked up things here and there. I mean, I wasn't taught that from my parents or anything. Um, and I think it's neat when people learn that from a young age. One of the conferences that I went to, or the Heirloom Expo, quite a few years ago, there was a lady talking about medicinal plants and eating your plants, eating your medicine, basically. So, like turmeric is really, really good um, for inflammation, and it basically doubles up when you have a black pepper with it. Hey, eat turmeric and black pepper every day. You're using some of that medicine. There's other herbs that are herbs that we eat as herbs, as flavorings that do medicinal things. And if you eat a wide variety of herbs, then you can be potentially a healthier person, or your system may be able to deal with things better. Not a doctor. Um, And I do actually believe that. I do actually believe that because it is. Good night, Howie. It is really, really, really interesting how boring the U.S. diet, the American diet is. Typical American diet. There's a lot of salt being used for flavor and not herbs, and there's a lot of herbs that you can use. Um, a lot. There's a lot. And if you're using herbs, then you don't need any salt even. I mean, unless you actually need salt. And if you live in the Midwest, maybe you want a salt. If you live somewhere where you sweat out all your electrolytes, sure, add salt. But there's a whole lot of other flavor profiles that exist that are, I think, forgotten in a lot of cases. I mean, you think about oregano, for example. Oregano is a antimicrobial, antifungal, antibacterial, and it's food. you can eat it. You can make tea out of it. My favorite tea is hot and spicy oregano, chocolate mint, and lemon verbena or lemon balm, one of the lemon things. And it's wonderful. And if I didn't grow my own stuff, I would never have come up with a tea that had oregano in it. Like, that's crazy. But when you have it, you use it, I had a marjoram plant up right near my quail aviary at my old place. Huge marjoram plant. The bees loved it when it was blooming, and they would get marjoram almost every day because it was right there. Like, honestly, it was, hey, this is right here. I'm walking in there. I'm gonna grab some and give it to them, and they loved it. But I'm sure it was doing good things for their immune systems. Yeah. So that's a good thing. Some of these herbs, have other uses, medicinally. Um, Lettuce used to be not lettuce as we know it now. It used to be like the prickly lettuce, the weed, basically. And that was medicine. And then it became food. Then we bred it to become less medicine, more food. But yeah, it's very interesting, the medicinal properties of the plants and around us that we use just a little bit of. Use a little bit more. You get a little bit more in your system. Brenda says, when my kids were young, every time a new fresh food came to the store, we would try it together. I remember it was Safeway, Albertsons, something like that. And the produce person used to pretty much always be in the produce area. Like, it's hardly ever do you go into a grocery store anymore and there'd be like a produce person there. And they would cut half a fruit and you could try things. Like, I remember trying for the first time, star fruit. And that was in California. And that was, no, it wasn't California, it was in Oregon. I think it was in Oregon. That was an experience because I had never tasted anything like that at all. And he cut us a slice. And, now you got to buy the whole thing and it's already rotten by the time it gets to the store, or it's picked so early that it's not worth it. They used to do things differently. But yeah, I remember the produce person, you could get half a head of lettuce or half a head of cabbage. You could get those things. And now things are so prepackaged and all that right now that pretty much don't get that. Let me know if you guys have grocery stores that do that still, because I think that's gone away. Verna says lemon balm verbatim. I'm going to guess verbena, and maybe auto they did it. Okay, lemon balm, lemon verbena, or lemongrass and sage make a great tea as well. Yeah, and sage is another spice that's very underused, very underused. My favorite thing to do with sage, which you shouldn't do every day because it is completely fattening, is to make sage butter. And I call them dessert leaves because it's just leaves that are crispy now, and you pop them in your mouth. They're so good. But if you cut up some sage and you have a part of a date and a little piece of cheese or a little piece of cream cheese, and you put that in a zucchini flower or a pumpkin flower, any of the flowers of that family, I may make a caveat that they should be edible. I don't know. I think they're all edible. And twist the top and put it on there and cook it in the sage butter. That I could eat that every day. I shouldn't eat that every day because it has a lot of butter. But it is a really good, tasty treat. And when you do that, though, make sure you check your blossoms for bees. And hey, we're in the summer, so I'm going to tell you how to do that. When you have a blossom, it's going to be male or female. The male is on a long spire. If you look inside, the pollen part is like this. It's male. If you have a female flower, the female flower will be right on the back of what looks like a fruit. That is what becomes a fruit. If you pick that flower, you will have no fruit. Okay. The inside of that looks like this. So it's more complicated. And the female flowers, you can leave them and become fruit, or you can eat them. Just understand if you pick it, you're not going to get fruit. The male flowers, if you wait until after morning, they might drop off or they might close up. Then that is going to be when they're going to be best because the pollen has produced. If you pick them too early, the pollen doesn't really produce yet. But the pollen has produced and it's already done what it's going to do for the plant because the male flowers only last one day. So those are the ones to pick. Do be careful when opening them because bees do like to sleep in there and they will chew their way out when they're ready. So that is my recommendation. If you have sage and you have pumpkins or zucchinis or any of those guys, do that with the flowers because, I mean, especially the male flowers, they're just going to be wasted otherwise. And they taste really good. So it tastes good on their own too. But you can stuff them with all sorts of stuff. Okay, Verna says, I was at Kroger's today. Would you believe you can't buy a soup bone anymore? Really? I think I've always had to ask the butcher. I don't think it's ever been like packaged. I think I always have to ask the butcher. It has to be a store that actually has a butcher because that's also something that's gone away. Sage grows like a weed. That is awesome. I'm happy to hear that, Desiree. Use it. Use it. Verna's asking Desiree, do you know any plant that is grown where you don't want it to be? It's called a weed. Yep. Oh, Anna says my grandma had a huge bush. I had to cut back and it's taken over her flowers. That is amazing. I had a humongous one at my old place. I'm looking forward to growing new things here. Joy's here. Welcome, Joy. Hello, all from Western Oregon. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're getting a little reprieve from the heat that we had. We are, so I hope you are. Yeah. So, Joy, we're talking about garden stuff, and earlier we were talking about accommodations you make for animals to develop a relationship with them. So I was talking about Penne, the rabbit, and how I worked with her and realized her handicaps of being not a good visionary. Her vision was not good, and learning how to make her see that I'm okay in there. So if you have an animal story that you'd like to share along those lines of how you dealt with a situation with an animal to make things better, then go ahead and share it. Desiree says Asian stores and Mexican stores will sell prepackaged soup bones. You got to find one of those stores, though. There might be something in the nearest bigger town. I have not explored that. There's nothing local like that. I can tell you that. We can't even buy a whole chicken at the grocery store locally. You can buy chicken breasts, not a whole chicken. You guys know those ice cream freezers, like at stores where you just like, I'm going to buy one ice cream and eat it right now. That's basically, it's a little bigger than that, but that's the meat department at my local grocery store. So I think most people don't buy meat there. They buy it somewhere else where it's cheaper. But you got to drive there. So there we go. Oh, good, Joy. It cooled down. It's been wonderful. Yes. Yes. We even got some moisture this morning. Yeah, Verna, check the meat market close to you. And sometimes you have to ask, because I know, like, I think Nob Hill, that's a grocery store where I used to live. They had like the butcher wasn't there every day, or there wasn't a butcher there all the time. Like it had to be before noon on these days or whatever. So you may ask if there's a meat department. You may ask if the butcher's in. Um, I'll go from there, and they'll be able to do that. Sometimes if you ask, you can kind of order ahead because sometimes they're like, oh, well, we just threw all that stuff out. So you can order ahead and say, oh, can you keep these things for me? Um, yeah. But yeah, my my dad's dog loves bones, and his the not my dad's, my parents' dog loves bones. But the dog they had before, which really was my dad's, um, she devoured bones. She would get that marrow out day one, and she'd have bones everywhere. Yeah. Um, Another thing to check too. I don't know if there's any butchers near you, but that would be another like not grocery store associated. That might be another source for fat too. Um, I should look into that here. Well, what I should do is I should process the fat that I have in the freezer. I have beef fat and I have um, rabbit fat in the freezer. So when I do that, I will record it for you guys. I did make a video, it's been a few years ago now, about rendering rabbit fat. Um, let's get that up here. Show all. Okay, it's not returning stuff. Fat. Show all. There we go. Here it is. So here's rendering rabbit fat. And I would use this, it's a low smoke point, so I would not do high heat. I would use it more for like baking or like biscuits type stuff, kind of like a vegetable shortening. That's what I would use it for. Oh, did you get it? Did I beat you to it? um, Zincs is only open for 5 hours, 4 days a week, Verna says. Okay, that's the one closest to you. Okay, Anime says, at what age should I butcher my quail? They're 5 weeks right now. So 5 weeks is going to be too soon unless you just want to get rid of that jerk. If you just want to get rid of that jerk, I would do that just so you don't have to deal with them. 8 weeks is when people typically butcher them because that's when the cost for feed evens out with the amount of meat. If you want them to get bigger, go 10 to 12 weeks and they will get bigger. But just know that you're paying more per measure of, I don't want to say mortar per pound, but they're not 10 pounds. So yeah, 8 to 10 weeks is pretty typical. People generally do 8 weeks. You can go more. I think they pretty much come close to topping out. Somebody correct me. Around 12 weeks as far as like when they keep growing and then they kind of start to level out more when they're not growing fast. But yeah. By a second. um Oh, sorry, Steve. Wait, but you didn't beat Verna. Should I start saying links and see who gets them first? Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Verna. Feed to meat ratio. There we go. No 10-pound quail here. Oh my goodness. So yeah, that's when I would do it. It's 8 weeks. You can wait longer and it'll be fine, but just know you're spending money feeding it. And again, I would, if your jerk is a real jerk, I would get rid of him, now. You know, Steve says, knowing Verna, you just say, I did a video, and she's already looking for it. Yep. Yep. Sometimes I remember kind of the keyword that goes along with it. Sometimes I don't. I don't have many videos on fat, although apparently I have more that came up. Father's Day came up as fat. I'm like, okay, well, FAT, and then you got to spell the rest of father. Yep, depends on what she's doing. Okay, so Steve says I do my birds at 16 to 20 weeks because I'm lazy and like the extra fat. Okay, so Steve, how much extra fat do you get when you go that far? Because honestly, having the extra fat is a good thing, but share with us how much extra fat you're getting. Like, are you getting? I'm gonna play since I had it up. I had it up. Where'd it go? Oh, it was a short though. I'm gonna play this. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Wait, pause. Okay. So this is going to be an older bird. Share. No, not that. Share screen. Oh, I have to pull it out. There we go. All right, so this is going to be a bird with some pretty good fat on it. You can see the top of the thigh on the back. There's a bunch right kind of on the belly and over by the wings. And I'm always impressed by when I butcher my older quail on how much fat there is. Look at that. So much fat. I'm always So that is what an older quail, the fat looks like. Okay, so Desiree says I'm going to wait till he's big. Okay. At 10 to 12 weeks, you hardly get any. Okay, so basically you're doubling the age, and that's when they start to put on fat. I don't remember, because I have processed them at different ages, but I don't think I did any at, like within the range that you're saying. Yeah. Okay, so Verna put this is for Desiree and anybody else. Verna put a link for how she was finishing the quail to have more fat with the cornstarch and what was it again? Oatmeal and cornstarch, I think. Yeah. So that is good. I was actually surprised out in the pasture because there's wild oats, which is not native to here, but there's wild oats out there, and cornmeal, not cornstarch. Did I say cornstarch? Cornmeal and oatmeal. Got it. Sorry. Don't cornstarch they'll be very stiff. um Regular feed over a longer time. Yep. Yeah, but I don't think that's what Verna did. I think Verna had a regular time. So the oats out in the pasture, they've dropped their seeds and all that already. And pretty much things are mostly brown out there right now. And I was actually surprised that the consumption of the pellets out there didn't really go up once it turned from green to brown. If it went up, it went up a very small amount for the rabbits, and so that's very interesting to me because they're eating dried grasses right now and probably seed heads too. But yeah, so she didn't use any milk. Quail don't do good with milk. Okay, didn't Linda do that? I think it was just the last 2 weeks or something. All right, we'll try it that way. And watch your video and try it that way and see what happens. And hopefully you're going to hatch some more, Desiree, with egg turner, because that will save you time. I'm a fan of efficiency and saving time, um, for sure. so so yeah, I didn't feed my quail anything special like to increase any of these things. I just fed them 27% protein turkey starter crumble until they're 8 weeks, which is until they're, gone, until they get processed. And then if for the breeders, I feed them the same stuff as the chickens, is 16% crumble. And um, that's why I feed them. And then they get greens from the garden and fruits and bones when I do bone broth. I run it through enough that the bones are squishy, and they just eat that up. They'll eat rabbit. If, some cooked stuff is on there. They will eat anything a chicken will eat. So stay away from avocado. That gives them a heart attack. I personally know 2 people that has happened to. Stay away from iceberg lettuce. I think once or twice kind of thing is okay, but making it regular, it has something in it that I don't remember what it does, but is bad. And then stay away from citrus, and I don't know what the citrus does. And someone said parsley. Somebody tell me if parsley's good or bad. I don't know. I never needed to feed my quail parsley, but yeah. Yeah, experiment. Some with milk and some without, Steve says. Yeah. Give them the usual feed and put oatmeal and cornmeal on top of it, and they loved it. Yeah, so stay away from citrus of any type. And Verna, do we know why? Do we know what it does? Because I know avocado does. Avocado basically makes them have a heart attack. But I don't know what citrus actually does. I know citrus is supposed to be kept out of worm bins, but that's because of the acid on the peel. I don't know that maybe that acid is also in the fruit at a smaller level, but yeah. Okay, citrus affects calcium absorption. Okay. That's interesting because vitamin C usually increases uptake of most nutrients. But that's interesting. I know I learned through giving blood that vitamin C, when taken with iron, either in pill form or orange juice and steak, those together uptake more. And you're not supposed to have, like, if your goal is to like get a lot of iron in your blood, you're not supposed to have calcium, like a big amount of calcium along with that. So a lot of times when people take their calcium pill, like if they're taking pills, they have it at the end of the night, right before they go to bed. And I think that's because it won't interfere with what you had for dinner, hopefully several hours ago. Um, so maybe the citrus in that case, maybe calcium is a stronger source for it to glom onto. Okay. So citrus isn't necessarily going to kill them now. It's basically over some amount of time. It might not be that long, but over some amount of time would be my interpretation from what Steve just said. Am I correct or am I not correct? I want to know. I want to know, my darling. I know that's really wrong words. Okay, but it does make sense that citrus would affect calcium absorption. Yeah, these are things that we did not learn in school. I don't remember learning, like, we took a nutrition unit, I guess, as a part of health class. And there's a whole lot of interactions with foods, like the turmeric plus plus black pepper, wonderful together, increases everything about both of them. Do it. And citrus and calcium, maybe not. That really should be taught in schools. I think we'd be healthier as a society if we knew this nutrition stuff. Citrus can also lead to digestive issues. Okay. So it may be just too acidic for their stomachs, maybe? I'm guessing it's the acidity, but I could be wrong. Um, the question is, now that we told you don't do it to the birds, don't do it to the birds, but the question I would have is, would they go after it? Is it something that they would go after? Is it something they would try and go, I don't think so. Because that would be interesting to know, considering some of the things I want to plant in this high tunnel where the quail are going to live are citrus. Some are going to fall and rot. We understand this. But yeah, I'm just wondering how that might work. Citrus, citrus. I'll eat citrus. Um, I did get a couple Meyer lemon trees. They're like this big, so they have to be protected in winter. But I plan on, they're probably going to have to both overwinter inside here. But I'm planning on putting them in the, I'm planning on putting them up near where the quail are going to go, one in the high tunnel and one outside, just to see if it actually survives. But they have to get big enough to survive. So one of the kind of rules of thumbs for something on the edge of a zone is the trunk should be at least an inch thick before you stop protecting it. So in this case, it might be, a few years. So protect in winter and say go gung ho in summer. Yeah. All right. Steve says in some tests, when chickens were offered citrus, the chickens did not migrate towards the citrus. Okay. I mean, because I've heard people will be like, oh, well, don't put avocados in there. Well, I just put everything in there and they all avoid it. Well, I know two people that have put, avocado. Who is not eating an avocado? That's what I want to know. The avocado has been a part of the leftovers, and just put in, and they both, had dead quail in the morning. I wonder if chickens are less sensitive to that or more sensitive. Yeah. Yep. One of them was someone that bought quail from me, and it wasn't like right then, but probably a few months later, he texted me. He's like, all but two of my quail are dead, but they're just like laying there like they went to sleep. Do you know what happened? And we went through it, and he didn't think there was any avocado in that, but then they actually searched through what was still in there, and they did find avocado. So um, they think that's what happened. And then the other person didn't know about this, and he gave avocado to someone's quail that he was watching. Not a good move, and killed some. So yeah, no avocado. I'll be blocking those off in the high tunnel when I do it. Yeah. Yeah, but that's what I was kind of thinking, is that with the citrus, that they might not actually take it. I did a brief experiment, excuse me, in my worm farm. Um, I did eat the citrus and then have the peel, and I would have the peel, and I put it in the corner of the worm bin, and I was curious, like, could you train the worms to be in this better environment? Not better, but to exist in an environment where this acidity is, or is it completely, hands off? Because some people are saying for the worms that, oh, well, just throw it in there, they just won't bother it. And I think that's partially true. But the problem is when you have food that's put into your worm bin that the worms aren't attracted to, it rots and molds, and then that's not good for the whole ecosystem. So my recommendation is to not do that. Um, yeah, I would put it back underneath the tree that came from. If you don't have quail underneath those trees, so that'll be. I might go through some experiments with peels at least. Maybe dry them out first or something. But yeah, I'd be interested to hear if it is something in the fruit part, the flesh part, or if it's something in the peel part, or both. Because if it's something in the flesh part, well, hey, just throw those peels back under and you're good. Yeah. So yeah. All right. So who's in the hot part? I know Steve said it's hot. PJ said it's hot. I think PJ's gone to bed. um, I know PJ cooked in her car after I did my other video, and she made ribs and they turned out wonderful. Steve, are you gonna cook in your car? You can bake. I have a playlist on dashboard cooking, and there's not a whole lot in there yet, but there's some good stuff. I would start with cookies or crescent rolls, something easy. Yeah, it's been cooler at Verna's place. Good, good, good. Um, and you can't endure the heat even to walk to the truck. Hey, that's fine. Send a kid out there as long as they come back. Anime says, sadly, I lost my last hatch due to power going out on my wall. All ice cold, had eight, four had blood rings and had to toss, kept four that looked okayish, but three ended up getting blood rings soon after. That is unfortunate. I'm sorry. Kept them until 4 days after. It's 4 days after the due date, and only one made it. One that I had put it in later. Okay. Came out with a hernia and a weird gasping. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it'll make it either. It usually they don't. Um, Quail, when they're the first few days, are pretty fragile. So I don't know when he hatched, he or she. But yeah. There's Verna. Thank you, Verna. With the link. Yeah, usually with quail, if they have something like that, that's probably going to be a problem for them, especially if it's by itself and doesn't have anybody else. That's I would prepare yourself for that. Yeah. Yeah, Steve. A whole playlist. Ha ha, hint, hint. Well, I will work on it. I will work on it. Um, I thought I had that already. I don't know why I didn't. I have so many playlists though. I have should I read you guys what I have for playlists in case you haven't looked in a while? We have weekend review, live chats, rabbits, cook with me, dashboard cooking, garden chat, freeze drying, food preservation, homestead animals, quail, which really everything in quail is going to be aviary related, almost. Gardening, cats, vermiculture, which is worms. Members only cook with me live, which you can join and do that. Chickens, food forest, property walks, foraging, building things, year in review. There's only one there. There will be more. Events, expos, conventions, and more. Heirloom squashes, which I was going to have more and I didn't. Collaborations and interviews. So if you're looking at for stuff that I'm talking with other people about, collaborations and interviews, there's only 4 things there, but that's a good place to start. Trail cameras, compost, grow your own tea, which I should have more in, but I don't. Bees, pond, essential oils, and Katrina's kits. That's just the one video for the hay join thing. And Every Bit Counts challenge, intro to canning, quail brooder build, which I never finished. I have, well, we'll see if I get the data back. Quail housing, which I started and didn't, I just have one there. Incubating Caternix quail, so I do have a whole playlist on that. So, and that is a finished playlist, which is good. And that's it. So 35. I know, I have a playlist for housing, but only one video there. So, I need to put my class up again. Sorry, guys. Anime says he wasn't doing very good at first and had curled toes and couldn't walk. I fixed it by putting him in a shot glass for a day, like you guys talked about, for splay legs. Okay. And that, so that's for the splay legs. Curled toes, if you tape right here and right here, you can use a Band-Aid or painter's tape, something that's not going to rip the skin off, for curled toes. But so how old is he? That's what I want to know. Because if he's doing good and you have been doing good for several days, you might have at least a bird that you can process later. I wouldn't keep it for breeding. Yeah. Yeah. She must be typing. How old is he? Desiree. I'm getting inspections from the county tomorrow for a couple things. Hopefully things will get signed off and hopefully I'll be painting the walls soon. Because I feel like I've basically been camping. I feel like I've basically been camping, so I would like to stop camping, paint the walls, get the flooring in, and unpack. Maybe by September, we'll see. We'll see. Okay, Desiree said he just started eating and drinking today. I was getting worried because he's 4 days old. Okay. And was gasping when I tried to get him to drink water. I can tell you one thing, he's very long, the longest chick I ever seen. Okay. Thank you for coming, Verna, and I wish you peace and that Wednesday is a peaceful day for you. And thank you for moderating. Yeah, Desiree, if he's 4 days old and he's just now eating, hopefully it continues to eat, but you should prepare yourself that it might not make it. So have hope, have confidence in the bird, and also at the same time prepare yourself that it might not make it. I feel it's important to be mentally prepared for these things, especially when you kind of see it coming. But then you can be pleasantly surprised if it doesn't happen. Yeah. Okay, he's pooping well, so his plumbing works. That's good. That's good. Important. Yeah. Well, I wish you luck because that sounds like a challenge, and we'll get an update, right? We'll get an update next week, hopefully. Yeah, that's the one thing you're most worried about. Yeah, because if that doesn't happen, it's not going to work. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah. All right. Well, does anybody have any last minute questions, comments, concerns, whatever? It's 8 o'clock, and we had a little bit slow at the beginning, but we got picked up, so that's good. And I hope everybody enjoyed this. Yeah. Okay, Desiree says it took him 2.5 days to start walking. He's a fighter then. At least you got a fighter. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming. Thank you to Verna and Steve for moderating. Thanks to Steve for his constant reminders of things I need to get done. I do appreciate that, actually. I do. Oh, your baby just started running. Awesome. All right. Thank you, guys. And we will see you next week, 6 p.m. Pacific time, Monday. And yeah, we'll see you then. Thanks for coming and enjoy the week. Have a good night.